It's showtime, showtime, showtime. Let's go, Seattle fans. Where you at? How devoted are you? Time to get loud with your host, Native Seahawk.
Welcome to this edition of the Loud and Devoted podcast on this Receipt Tuesday edition. And I am eating a ton of crow this afternoon on this Winning Tuesday edition of the Loud and Devoted podcast. Seahawks won. I won't say what I said until I show you what I said on the Sunday morning edition, the 12th hour podcast right here on the Loud and Devoted.
I think what I'm really concerned about in this game is just identity. You know, we're really trying to figure out who the hell we are. On defense, I always start with defense because that's why we got Mike McDonald, was because of his expertise. He's a subject matter expert when it comes to the defense. And again, in a Mike McDonald defense, he really stresses pressure on the quarterback and really confusion on the quarterback. That's really why we got him, why he was so successful. This game, thank goodness we got Byron Murphy back, the rookie sensation out of University of Texas, as our first round draft pick this year. He's back. That's going to be a huge plug-in. And then we got the new kid, the new defensive tackle. He's new to us, from the Jacksonville Jaguars, in a rare trade for a defensive lineman for the Seahawks. Mike McDonald calls him a nightmare against the run. And again, that's been our bugaboo all of last year and a little bit of this year too. The last 3 games especially is against the run. So hopefully you got Murphy, who's really good against, he usually takes up 2 guys. You got Harris in there. Of course, we got the big cat, Leonard Williams. You've got Mafe in there. You got Derek Hall. So you're playing with a pretty good and pretty healthy defensive line. We're going to see a lot of Kobe Bryant today. And I guess that's where I'm getting back, trying to get to with this defense. You got to have the next man out mentality. You're going to see a lot of Witherspoon playing defensive back. You're not going to see him so much in the slot. There is no Artie Burns. He's out. So it really is next man up on defense. And so it'll be a test. Can Seattle, without their top defensive backs, be able to somehow, some way stop the Falcons, this juggernaut offense, from scoring? So can Geno Smith be accurate? And that's really what I'm looking for today. Can we get the old Geno back? That's what I really want to see against this defense that doesn't pressure quarterbacks very well. All right, the Seahawks player of the game for me, who I'm predicting needs to have a really, really good game, is going to be on offense, and that comes back to our man Geno. Geno has got to be the player of the game this week for us to even have a chance at winning. Now let's get into a prediction of the score, because I've been a homer. I've been looking at my Receipt Tuesday episodes every week, and I keep saying, and I keep losing, especially the last 3 games. I keep predicting the Seahawks to win. This time I'm going to predict them to lose, not just because of any kind of a jinx or that I'm superstitious, which I am, but I don't think the Seahawks are going to have enough today. I think that it is going to be a very high-scoring game, but I've got the Seahawks losing to the Falcons 27-20.
All right, you heard it there. I thought for sure we were going to lose. We were on a 3-game losing streak, and they hadn't been playing to all of our par or measurement of any sort of the way. As I said on Sunday morning, I was looking for identity. Like I said, Mike McDonald does a good job on defense of creating confusion and to put pressure on the quarterback, and by golly, his defense did quite a bit of that on Sunday. It was great to have Byron Murphy back. I knew he would be a key to the game. Harris did okay, the new guy from Jacksonville. And, all of a sudden, this defensive line came alive and did exactly what I had hoped they did. Now, they did give up 155 rushing yards to the Falcons, but most of that was in the first half. The second half, the defense they really tightened up against the run. I think they started figuring out ways to be able to shut Bijan Robinson down. There was a couple of splash plays there by a few of their backups, but overall, that healthy defensive line was very, very important to this team, of course. And then you look at, of course, Kobe Bryant. I mentioned that we would see a lot of him, he was the next man up. And according to Coach Mike McDonald, Kobe Bryant earned the right to start against the Falcons. And he did get that interception again because of the fact Byron Murphy was right up in Kirk Cousins' face and made him sort of throw an errant pass over his receiver and into the hands of Kobe Bryant. Again, just like Julian Love. Remember Julian Love the week before against the 49ers had that ball right in his sights and didn't even get the interception. And I'm going to hold him accountable for that. Kobe Bryant showed focus. He showed desire. And he made the right plays right there at the right time. I was hoping to see more Tyrese Knight as the linebacker for the defense, but it looked like by all intents and purposes, Dotson and Baker did a pretty good job of, again, shoring up that middle linebacker position. And I asked during this on Sunday morning, can they stop this juggernaut offense of Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson from scoring? And the answer was a resounding yes. 14 points scored against your Seahawk defense. Kirk Cousins, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a 72 rating. And yes, this was the very first time this season that the Seahawks defense was able to shut down a established quarterback. That's what I was looking for when it comes back to identity. Can they do that? Now, the next question, I'll pose this again before we play the Bills this coming Sunday, is consistency. Can you, now that you found your identity, you're a confusing, pressure-filled defense, can you do that again? Can you rinse and repeat? That's the question that I have for this defense. I did say that the play of the game was going to be Geno Smith. If they were going to have a chance at winning this game, he would have to have a really accurate game, quit playing tentatively. And by all intents and purposes, the tentativeness was gone. I didn't see that quite a bit in rewatching the film, although there was several underneath passes that he threw because, again, the Atlanta defense was playing cover 2 to try to eliminate those explosive plays downfield. Geno just kind of kept, checking down, which I think builds confidence for him to be able to, again, get in the swing of things. He had a starting right tackle, that, Mike Jarrell, that a lot of us were wondering what the heck was going to happen with him. Was he going to be able to hold up against that defense? And sure as shit he did. Mike Jarrell surprised all of us. Now, if I could go back in time, I would say Mike Jarrell would be the player of the game, only because he stepped up. And again, that Atlanta defense, I said, had not do a very good job of pressuring the quarterback. Of course, as I said in last Sunday's podcast, they had the time of their life. They had the game of the season so far in pressuring Geno, not a lot more than what he's seen before, but more than what they've been doing. And sure as shit, that's what happened. Geno did have a lot of underthrown passes or overthrown passes again. There was a few times in the end zone. DK Metcalf, we can look at that one on the right side while he was going one-on-one with the cornerback, and it went past the cornerback's fingers and then past DK's fingers. Now, one could probably say that DK could have dove for that ball and probably caught it instead of relying on just his hands to catch it. But there was a few of those things. And there was some drop passes, too. JSN continues to have at least one drop pass per game in the last 4 games. And it's really getting disheartening to see that because that's not who he is. He is not a guy that misses. His catch radius is coming into the season has been very, very solid. And so there was a lot of sideline passing going on to try to break that cover 2 defense. A lot of, again, hard running, though. We got to give a big kudos to K9. K9 didn't have the time of his life. He was under 100 yards against the Falcons, but, of course, did have 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. And here's the key of the game for me. On top of the fact that the Seahawks defense did pressure Cousins quite a bit, is the fact that there was a lot of second down and shorts, second down and 4, second down and 3s that you saw throughout the game, which I think if Seattle can continue to get 6, 7, 8 yards on first down, that for any team is going to get you pretty far down the field and into the red zone quite a bit. And I saw that quite a bit. And so, unfortunately, the Seahawks third down percentages, though, the efficiency there was really low, 36%. Then they gave up 53% of the third downs to the Falcons offense. So I think that's a place you can shore up a little bit. And coming into the Bills game is to try to make sure that your third down conversions are at least 50% or better, not down in the 30 percentile. And so let's take a look. I thought I was going to put some PFF grades up on here, but it looks like the PFF scores are pretty solid. Kenneth Walker, K9, was your number one offensive PFF grade in the 80 percentile. I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more of a stronger PFF grade for Geno Smith, who did not make it in the top 5 of the PFF grades for this week. But again, on the season, Geno is at 1,900 yards, as number 1 in the NFL, 7 yards per attempt, which is very strong, 68.5% completion. His touchdown to interception ratio is not very good. I think he, was on. We were hoping that through at the beginning of the season, if he could have less than 10 interceptions for the season, that would be an amazing accomplishment. He's already at 6 interceptions for this season and 8 touchdowns. So he is on the right side up, which is good for your Seattle Seahawks. Now, the only one thing I want to take a look at as I close up this edition of Receipt Tuesday is I've been taking a look at pre-snap movement. And again, that coming into the season, that's the one thing we heard about Coach offensive line coordinator Grubb and his scheme is that he likes to move his pieces around before the snap. And of course, the Seahawks do a really good job of doing this no huddle offense where it does give Geno the ability to kind of take a look at what the defense is setting up out there with like 18, 19 seconds left on the clock, on the play clock. And so I looked at how many times Geno moved a guy, whether it was a running back or a receiver or a tight end from one side to the other, which then allows for the Seahawks, for Geno to look at to see if the Falcons were playing a zone or man-to-man. And he, last week against Brock Purdy, there was a 28% pre-snap movement. 28% of the time is when the offense was moving a piece from left to right. This week against the Falcons was lower at 26%. And the majority of those movements of moving somebody from left to right really came down to the running backs, whether it was K9 or Charbonnet. He would move from his right to his left or his left to his right, depending on what the defense and how they stacked up on their end. Sometimes there's 5 guys on the left side, so you can move the running back to the right side where there's a lot less people for him to be able just to hand the ball off and try to get an advantage that way. And so I expected, for some reason coming into the season, I thought there would be a lot more pre-snap movements than 28% last week and 26% this week, thinking that maybe it's more in the 30, 35 to 40 percentile. 4 out of 10 times that you would see a movement of a player just to give Geno, and they have the time to do it. Like I said, they're employing the no huddle, and so it gives Geno quite a bit of time to take a look at what's out there. I also took a look at how many times Geno was able to audible. Last week against the 49ers, it was quite a bit more. Let's take a look at that real quickly. Five snaps last week. That was about a 15% of the time he audibled. This week, it was once. I only saw one audible, and you can tell that it's an audible because once they set up the offense and everybody's out there, you can see quite a bit of movement. Geno will bark out something, some kind of a call, and you see the tight ends kind of go from their hunch position and stand up and move over to the left, and you see Tyler and somebody else go to the right, and it's an actual different play that Geno is installing because he's looking out there saying, oh, if we use this play, perhaps it will get a better outcome. And this week, he really relied on Coach Grubb. There really was a lot less, like I said, 4 less audibles against the Falcon defense, which again, if you're going to have Geno audible, he better be right. I know that last week against the 49ers, I don't think out of those 5 audibles, he got maybe 1, maybe 2 right, where they actually was able to get significant yardage because he audibled. And I think they saw that on tape. And they said, why don't we go ahead and just set up the way Grubb has it? We'll figure out against this Falcons defense if that works better for us. And sure as shit it did. You saw quite a bit more of Geno do much better. Again, didn't do so much audibling, of course, on third down, where you would think that's where you'd want to sort of do some more audibling because of the fact that, you need those yards. You need 5 or 8 yards to get the first down. You would think that maybe there would be some more audibling that way, but there wasn't. So, again, special teams did just fine. Again, we're not really talking about the place kicker Myers at all, which is good. He nailed the field goals that he had to get, which helped Seattle win. But yeah, 34-14. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card for the Seahawks to win by almost 3 touchdowns. It was a fun game to watch. I think that, again, at the beginning of the season, I said we might only win 10 games this season, but they'll be darn fun to watch. That's exactly the way that this game played out on Sunday, where, of course, it was fun to see our 2 future superstar defensive ends, Boye Mafe and Derek Hall, gang tackle Kirk Cousins and strip the ball, run it back for a touchdown. That's exactly the kind of defense and fun that we want to see from this team. And I did say this on Twitter that it would be nice to put Mafe and Derek Hall on the same side. That's what happened. If you go back to that play, Mafe, of course, was on the outside and Derek Hall was on the inside. And when the ball was snapped, Mafe went to the left and Hall went to the right. He did a little bit of a kind of a swing play where he went around the center and was able to beeline directly to Kirk Cousins to help with stripping the ball and picking the ball up and running it in for the end zone. If it wasn't for Mafe being there first, stripping the ball, but Hall was right there to pick it up. You want to see that again. I was hoping you saw quite a bit of really good tackling this week against the Falcons. I've been saying that. I said that before Sunday's game on the 12th hour pod about the fact that you want the defense to look like there's 12 guys on the field. And lately it felt like there was only 10. And so they got back to winning football. They got back to fundamentals. They got back to communicating and really relying on each other for their assignments. And focus, I think, was the big part of why Seattle won almost by 3 touchdowns on both sides of the ball. Kudos to Mike Jarrell. Again, I hope to see him again this coming Sunday. Even if Forsyth is okay to play, I'd much rather try Jarrell again. And if he doesn't stack up against that Bills defense, then he try Forsyth. But Jarrell really showed his athleticism. He's able to between him and Christian Haynes that run that K9 had for a touchdown. He could drive a bus right through where that hole was at between those 2 guys. That's exactly what you want to see in this offensive line, where we're dictating terms. We're the ones that are creating lanes and allowing our superstars to go through them and enjoy those assignments to the very fullest. And so the last thing I want to say is kudos to Coach Mike Macdonald. Again, this is showing his testament to winning. He had a 3-game losing streak. You would think that a young coach would probably sort of hide and put his head back in his shell. But this time, he really came out like an eagle, being able to, help his team respond and answer the questions that were out there that we all had. And again, showing off his tenacity, showing off his resiliency as a head coach, and really probably putting a lot of pressure on his coordinators to do better, the special teams coordinator to do better, all the way down to various other coaches, physical strength trainers, etc. So it takes a total village to win. To go all the way to Atlanta on the road, being 3-point underdogs and coming out almost 3 touchdown winners is a really great fun time to be a Seahawk fan. I'll be up at the Bills game at Lumen on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. Don't think I'll do the 12th hour podcast on Sunday, but definitely will do one more before the Bills kickoff on Sunday. It's going to be a tough game, and that's all I'll say for now. The Bills are playing very well, and I wish Josh Allen was the Josh Allen a few weeks ago when he was turning the ball over, getting less than 200 yards in throwing, but he is back to his MVP form. That defense isn't anything to be to write home about, but we'll get more into details on that before Sunday. And my name is Aaron Thomas, otherwise known as Native Seahawk. God bless you wherever you're at. Go Seahawks. Let's go. Let's enjoy this win for the next few more days on this Receipt Tuesday edition of the Loud and Devoted podcast. Take care, guys. Be safe.